Today we're going to go over how to graph equations in Excel. So we're focusing specifically on a system of equations, which means that we are going to graph more than one equation. This is really useful for the compound interest project in Algebra 2, as well as solving systems of linear equations in both Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. So the first thing that you want to make sure you're set up with is in Excel, you want to have a blank workbook opened up, okay? In your first column, over here in column A, start with a label for this column. These are going to be the x values of your equation or the variable values. So if you're doing a system of equations, you might label this X. And if you're doing like an investment one, you might label this as T. So I'm going to label it as X/T because this is just your variable. And so I'm going to make a note that this is the variable for you. Okay. Now, you can choose any values you want. If you're doing investment, I recommend doing just counting up to 10. And so a quick way of filling this in is to put a couple of numbers in, and then you highlight the whole thing, and then you take this little box at the bottom and you just drag it, and you can see that the number in the gray box is telling you how far you're dragging it. So dragging it up to 10 will be very useful because it gives you that. And this is a great tool for, especially if you have to fill in a table of 100 values, it's a much faster way of doing it. It also will make it faster when you're entering equations. So now you can label the top of each of these with, for example, scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3, or the titles of the equations. I'm going to show you how to enter a couple of different types of equations in here. So I'm only going to do two. One of them is going to be an exponential equation, so it's going to be a number raised to a power, and what that power will be these numbers over here. I'm also going to enter one where it's a typical like x squared quadratic equation. So we're going to start with the quadratic equation. It's going to be y equals x to the second power plus 3x minus 2. Okay, so now that I've labeled that as my equation, in the cell below, so I'm in cell B2 right now, I'm going to type equals, and anytime I see an x in this equation, I'm going to replace it by clicking that box A2. So it's going to be a squared to the second power plus 3, and that's an x, so I want to have it be I want to make sure that I'm selecting box A2 again. So you can type that in. 3 times A2 minus 2. Okay? So now that's the value of this equation. And to fill the rest of these boxes in, you can just drag straight down. And the nice thing is that because it's referencing that, you'll see here now it's referencing A3. If I click this, it's referencing A7 where the value 6 is. So it's automatically plugging in future values for you. Now I'm going to model how to do it for an exponential. So we're going to do y equals 2 to the x power, and we'll do plus 7, just to keep it interesting. So in this box now, I'm going to do equal sign, and everything after the equal sign gets entered, but once again, I want to use the value in the A2 box to replace my x. So we're going to do 2, and we're going to raise it to the A2 power plus 7, okay? And then, so you can see 2 to the first is 2 plus 7 is 9. 2 to the second is 4 plus 7 is 11. So you can see how those are working. So once you have all of your charts, all of your values chosen, you're going to just highlight those boxes by clicking and dragging. Then you, then you want to insert, and you're going to come here and you want to go to the charts, and you're going to select a line chart. So you just want to select the basic line chart, or you could do the line with markers, but I'm just going to do the basic one for this. And so you can see that it just automatically spits out the chart that you need. And then when you want to go to print it, you just want to make sure that you select this as your print area. But so if you can get this part done on your own, then you want to make sure you include a chart title, and you want to rename these. So down here you have your key, and you want to rename the series 1 and series 2 with your equations or with the title of the scenarios. That's the basics for creating a chart in Excel. From there are lots of things you can do with the chart, and you can play around with the formatting options to make it look as nice and